So I'm Amy Beeson, and this is lovely Lauren Powell, and we're on tonight to talk about hospitality and writing and community because we are hosting Write Up on Saturday. So, Lauren, what is on your mind at the moment ahead of Saturday?
I guess I'm thinking about kind of who's coming, why are they coming, what's the night all about. I'm really, really excited. I'm loving all the buzz on Substack for the event. And yeah, I guess now that I kind of know, well, we all know who's reading, we maybe know a little bit more about their pieces from some of the other lives that you've been doing this week, and starting to get a sense of, yeah, the themes and the feelings that are going to come through in those readings on Saturday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And it's still a surprise for you because you haven't read all the pieces, and the other writers haven't read each other's pieces. So the only people that have read all of them are me and Emma and Tom.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little bit, but I think that's kind of nice because I think it keeps the surprises there.
Mm.
Yeah, and you're also going to be reading a bit as well, which I'm very excited about. I need to get your song choice from you to add to the playlist. Um, but I know that you've been thinking a lot this week. You published a lovely piece yesterday on your Substack, The Navigation, um, about how actually hosting has always been something that you've done. So you've always known that you could host, but you didn't always have that confidence of going, but I'm a writer as well. Can you talk to me a bit about your journey?
Yeah, I think it was nice to kind of write that piece and sort of reflect back a bit. And I think I've always done events, literally since I was a kid. I've kind of had an idea or had a reason for wanting to gather people or raise money for something or celebrate something. And I've made it happen. And I love it. I love the kind of organising a space, thinking about what the drinks and snacks are going to be, or little party bags, takeaways. What are people coming for, but what can they sort of take away from an experience as well? Um, ordering my gran which cakes she needs to bake for my tea party, and kind of getting other people involved and making things a really a community effort as well. And I think, yeah, all that has sort of come quite naturally all the way through school, through uni. After uni, when my first job ended up being kind of events related, even though, it wasn't sort of intentional necessarily. But yeah, I've never felt like writing could ever be a part of that, even though, again, as a child, I loved writing. English was my favorite subject. I like creative writing. I liked what I used to think as a child even was my journalistic writing, kind of investigating the hard stories. But I guess it felt much less legit than saying I can organize something. That's a skill. Writing was much more of an elite kind of thing that you needed, maybe more outside acknowledgement or celebration to be able to say that you could do. And I
Mm.
also didn't writers, I didn't know anyone that had written a book, or let alone published a book, or any journalists, or any anyone that had a blog even. So I just never really had a way to kind of explore that. And I think joining Substack has been wondrous for meeting other writers and helping me feel like I can call myself a writer, but because I am part of a community that I have been welcomed into quite literally at events, that has helped to kind of make those connections and made me feel like this is my space as much as this anybody else's space that writes, whatever in whatever genre that they might be writing in.
Do you think there's something in seeing people do it happening, like in terms of like witnessing that, then that's an accessible thing for you, even if it's not necessarily something you do in that moment, that it feels that there's a path there? Has that shifted over the last year?
Definitely, I think so. I mean, even thinking about what constitutes as writing, and it isn't just because you know you haven't published a book that is a bestseller. That's not the only thing that constitutes being a writer. And there's also a lot of writing work that goes on behind the scenes that might never see the light of day. And that is also writing. And that is what it is to be a writer. And I think I guess, letting myself lean into all those thoughts and feelings and actions around what it means to write and um, see myself as a writer and have that as a kind of descriptor of myself rather than the always like the external things as well.
Do you think there's something as well? Because I know when I was reading it, it really made me smile your piece because I did a similar thing. Like I got the hospitality badge in brownies over and over again because it was the one that I liked doing. I didn't so much like building a trail and doing a bonfire. I liked like hosting tea parties. So I think I did that one multiple times. So it was really funny for me. Is that my interference or your interference? Can you hear that?
I can't hear you.
Okay. And then also, I also organised my GCSE ball and my A-level ball as well. So that was like really lovely to kind of see that. But I'm from, like a small community. I'm not from London. I'm from the Midlands. And I was thinking about you being from Wales. I wonder if it feels when you are in a smaller community, whether those things feel more achievable because you've got your support network. You've got your granny to bake your cakes, you've got your mum to run you somewhere, and then you're in London and you don't have those. That maybe that's why sometimes it feels like, oh, that part of my life was gone. But I think what's been lovely about us finding each other on Substack is we've kind of almost given ourselves those people back again, like that kind of support system.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a really good point. And I hadn't thought about it in terms of, yeah, the context of where I grew up. And it was, yeah, like you say, I had my people around me, whether that was, at home with my family and having them being able to kind of be part of whatever I wanted to do or at school. I think I was quite lucky that I was just kind of friends with everyone and I wasn't really in the cool group. I wasn't in the not cool group. I was just kind of, would chat to anyone and make friends with anyone. And I could kind of stand up in the common room and say, right, girls, we're gonna, I want to do this. Let's all get behind it. And people would kind of get on board. And I think it's really easy to lose that when you're in a city like London. I don't know my neighbours. I don't, I'm not in that kind of area with that really strong community feel. And even though I've been really lucky that I've got a lot of my university friends are in the city, I've got lots of, brilliant friends from jobs I've worked in. But I think magically kind of finding this Substack circle, this writer circle has really felt like finding my people. And I've said that to my family and friends as well, that I've got this whole new world of people that I kind of didn't know existed and that I never could have even imagined being part of because I didn't know they were there. And now is kind of expanding and expanding, and events like Write Up only kind of help that to grow, not just for me but for everyone that comes to be part of it as well.
Yeah, because I think, it's that having those conversations. It's really funny when we're at meetups, like people you've just met. It's amazing the quality and the depth that you can get to so quickly, because I suppose that's the element that's brought us all together is that sense of vulnerability and truth and kind of just recognizing in each other. It's a very special component. It kind of really, I think it changes your perspective in how you feel in your practice as a writer, but I think also within your life and thinking, I can have ideas and, you know, like Write Up is just an idea that everyone has worked towards making happen. There's no organizational structure to make it happen. It's literally people wanting it and then making it so. And you've been a big part of that. And I wondered how that felt like back in July, because we kind of all know it will happen on Saturday because we've seen it in the summer. But in the summer, it was a completely untested idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, massively. And I think, yeah, no one really knew. I mean, I guess you knew the venue, but most of us didn't know the venue. How where are things going to go? How's that bit going to work? Where are people going to sit there, and all that kind of thing. But and even doing the setup, it almost just became very seamless because people wanted to I think people could identify like where they could support and just kind of got on with it, because everyone, as you say, wanted to make it happen and wanted to make it a really special, um, special event. And even, you know, when I said, yeah, okay, I can do some drinks behind the bar and, I've done my days in the pub, but, I can do that. I had no idea how many conversations would be happening in that space, and then again, sort of at the bookstall and having an author there that has written their book and then being able to talk to the person that is buying it there and then and what that connection means and having it signed and when we have the sort of intermissions breaks throughout the evening and again people sort of coming through and milling around talking about the pieces that have just been read or even the music choices and what that's meant for them is just kind of so many threads of connection
Yeah.
um is yeah, it was completely unanticipated, but makes me even more excited for this weekend now that I know a bit, more what to expect.
And you probably even heard more of that than I did because I was having to get the next thing ready all the time. And I think in designing this one, I recognised how important a role that you had just naturally done and wanted to kind of have that on a more firmer footing. Because then for me as well, like I'll feel less guilty about going, goodbye, Laurie. I'm like over here doing this. Um, but I think it means everyone can kind of relax into it a bit more. And people know that you're the host. We've talked about it a lot. So if they are coming on their own, they know you're the natural person they can go to and ask. And it just, I think, for me, like makes people feel more secure, more relaxed, more welcomed, more that sense of belonging as well. I mean, how was it for you, like greeting people? Because we had a lot of people who had never been to anything before last time. And I think that will happen again this time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And last time as well, not even people that had bought tickets, but even that just saw were walked past the church and saw
Yeah.
that and wanted to come in, which is lovely. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to be able to greet people, and I want people, especially at Christmas time, I really want people to walk through the doors and feel like their shoulders can drop and they feel excited and they know that they're in a warm and welcoming space. Just even small things like for anyone that is coming, never, do come and there's no silly questions or anything. Like even if you've asked me twice where the toilet is, ask me again if you can't remember, or kind of, is there somewhere that you can hang your coat or have a space for a quiet 5 minutes, or that, yeah, you're worried that you will know anyone and, which table you want to sit at. Do you need to be near a door because you want to just kind of be able to get out in and out freely, or do you want to be near the front because you want to be able to hear more clearly, or anything like that. But I think, yeah, really is kind of for everyone that's come in is really making the most of the evening and letting us, myself, but everyone else that will be there kind of helping on the night as well, and obviously all the work that you'll be doing with the speakers and with the other judges and all the guests, just really feeling like, just let us do the work and worry what's going on behind the scenes and just come and enjoy it and chat to people and have a mulled wine or a non-alcoholic mulled juice.
Yeah,
um,
it's the non-alcoholic punch from Waitrose.
and, just come and have a good time and yeah, let us help with that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's the thing is, I think greeting people and making people feel welcome is such an important thing. And it's horrible when you go to something and you don't feel welcome and you don't feel seen and you feel like you went to something and nobody even knew you were there. I mean, sometimes that's fine. That anonymity can be nice at times, but I think with something like this, you're part of something, and it's not just about the writers who are reading there. They're a very important part, but it's that spirit of community, that people have wanted to make this happen. They're one of the building blocks of the night as much as anybody else because their time, their money, their their attention is what's helped make it happen. It's a really special thing. And I remember at the last one, I remember people like one person coming up to me going, "This was so good. I didn't know what to expect, but it's way beyond what I expected." And I was like, I think that's a compliment. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, for again, for anyone that's coming, whoever you speak to, you've already got something in common because you've already both crowdfunded this event to make it happen. So whatever, if you're looking for an icebreaker, just, there's an automatic one that you're going to have something in common with people, whether one of you writes on Substack and the other one is just a reader, whether one of you's a published author and one of you's only ever written one Substack post. There's there's there'll be so much to talk about, but the crux of it is that you're all there and you're all there for a reason. And
Yes.
have got on board with this idea that we feel like is a really good one. And yeah, it feels like you do too. So it's, yeah, you'll find the people, I think.
And it's interesting because it's one of those things where you should be nice to everybody because this time's guest is next time's reader. So we do have people reading this time who came having never been to anything before last time. And then that enjoyed it so much it gave them the confidence to submit and get chosen. And I'll also have people who've never been to anything for reading, and this will be their first introduction to the community. So it's lovely having people, I think, at all the different stages. I never wanted it to feel like cliquey or like a gang. It really is everybody's Christmas party that you're all welcomed at. It's not about your status or like who you know or what you've done. Is literally like if you've invested your money and your time and your attention, you are part of this group now. Whether you like it or not, you're a part of it. So I think that's really nice. And I'm just so grateful for everybody for helping, make it happen. I'm really looking forward to it now. Like it's such a big, it's such a big thing. I think I will be the least turned out person there. Everyone's texting me, telling me they're getting their hair done and their nails done and what they're wearing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, my face will be lucky if it gets like a little bit of eyeshadow and a brush through my hair. Like there's so much to do.
I'll be there just giving you a bit of touch up on the
Oh
sideline.
god. I've actually run out of everything as well. I've run out of powder and foundation in like every single thing. I'll have to try and do a quick Boots run tomorrow to get some because I also have one of my children's Christmas fairs tomorrow as well. Of course, of course. Um, but I think for you, what is your if you had to think back to July, what's been a memory that's really stayed with you from that? Is there something that's kind of like really lodged with you as a feeling of what it was like on the night?
Do you know, it was because I was sort of behind the bar for the night, and then as we would I'd sort of wrap up there as everyone else was sort of taking their seat, and then I'd sort of creep in at the back of the room when everyone was sat down and you were sort of redoing the introductions or the next reader was speaking, and watching everyone watch the reader and sort of seeing it from behind, and you could hear a pin drop, right? I'm sure you'd agree. You could absolutely hear a pin drop, and everyone was so um engaged, but engage is not even the word because it was a different level.
It's that substance, isn't it? It's that clarity of connection and presence in silence.
Exactly, and feeling like I was part of that, and also watching it happen, and feeling so fulfilled by watching it, if that makes sense, because it feels really rare. Even, I might go to the theatre, I might see a show, but I never see it from that perspective. You're part of the audience, you don't sort of look on at the audience watching what's going on stage. But being able to kind of have that sort of slightly bird's eye view and feel part of it, and also an observer, and how captivated everyone was. Not okay, there was pictures and things being taken, but no one's on their phone. No one's sort of having to run off and do anything else. Or everyone's there. Everyone's there to enjoy. Everyone's there to listen. Everyone's there to soak up what the writers want to say. And the writers have got their opportunity to stand at a lectern and almost, in a very different way, but deliver their sermon and say, this is what I want to convey with this is my moment. This is my piece. This is what I want to give you as a community to take away with you tonight and ponder and think about and enjoy. And I think, yeah, if I could capture that in a feeling, I don't know what the word would be, but it's all of that.
It definitely feels like a moment, doesn't it? You know, there are things in your life when you just feel like, oh, I was just part of something really lovely and really special in that moment. And I think you're right. And it is lovely to do that with people. And it's been interesting to see how people's connections have developed from that night as well. And like, you know, the collaborations that have gone on, which is so nice. Like things do have a life of their own. It's providing the space, isn't it? And people bring their own magic to things. And it is this strange alchemy, I think, of like hospitality, community, and writing. It's just, I mean, for us, because we're writers, obviously that's our particular blend, like of something that we respond to. And maybe we don't get that much in life. Maybe that's why it feels so special that we like the quiet moments as well as the busy moments, you know? Like for us, silence isn't always scary. Like it's something to really cherish, even when you're in a big room. To be in a big room and to have silence and focus, maybe for us that kind of is what fills us up in a way that it doesn't fill other people up. But I don't know. It's interesting though, isn't it? You know? Like, I think I definitely felt enlivened and not drained. Like, you could feel, you know, sometimes, particularly for introverts, which I think a lot of people probably are that come, you know, you can feel really drained by events. But a lot of people said they felt really filled up by it.
Mm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I know I did. I mean, I remember the morning after. And I said to my partner, I was like, I just need to go. I'm just going to go and take myself for a coffee because I just need to like soak in. I need to go and journal and I need to soak in everything that I'm feeling about last night because it was so special. And I had so many lovely conversations and I met so many fantastic people, some of which I knew through the Substack network, some of which were, completely, I'd never met them before. And we made some lovely connections. And I think, to your point as well, I think you mentioned earlier at some of the meetups, like the depth of the conversations that happen. And I think again, that's partly comes from kind of being a writer maybe, and the way you approach a conversation changes because you're just not afraid to kind of dig into some of those areas that, maybe non-writers would feel a bit more trepidation about. And I was listening back. I didn't catch you live, but listening back to your live this week with Sasha, who was one of the speakers, writers for the weekend, and I think she mentioned that she had sat next to someone in July who she'd never met before, and has since gone on to interview them for her book that she's writing.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
"Oh, what a lovely, yeah, what a lovely connection that they obviously made, and a lovely sort of next step from there."
And it's nice for me as well because it's one of those things when, you know, if I was doing like I'll try and talk to as many people as possible, but it's probably not possible for me to have that many conversations in one night. And maybe people don't want to talk to me. I'm probably like quite insignificant in terms of like their evening. But it's nice to know that all those things are happening and I'm not responsible for making that happen. Like people do that so beautifully. Probably they're probably getting way better chat than I'm getting while I'm like dashing around trying to get things sorted. I think you spent more time with my husband than I did. Like, didn't you?
Bless him. Yeah, he was our payment contact at the bar.
I mean, and I think I was happiest when I got to be behind the bar sometimes just chatting to you and Alan Harrod and, you know, Ingrid, and then Tom would come up and just regale everybody in that very Tom Wentworth way. It was fun. It was really fun. It had so many bits to it. It kind of really it flew by, but at the same time it wasn't like it was ridiculously fast. It felt like those special bubble moments, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the thing, I think that's why it wasn't draining because yes, it was busy and we did work hard and my feet were aching by the end of the night. I I remember going over in the Uber at the end of the night and I was like, God, I've got to take my shoes off. Like, because there's a lot of running around, there's a lot of standing up, for us that are sort of putting it together. But I think it was fun. It was inspiring. There was lots of fantastic conversations. There were lots of lovely moments to observe. And all of those things are only things that can lift you up. They're only things that can make you feel fulfilled in whatever capacity you're playing in them. And I think, yeah, energy wise, it far outweighs the aching balls of the feet or, sore arms from pouring too many drinks or whatever it might.
And then I mean, also, I think we obviously having lots of side chats about doing something, but even those feel a lot more relaxed this time. I think because we've all been through it, so we kind of all know what we're working towards and where we put the kind of focus on. Um, it does really kind of help that, but it is a creative act. Like obviously the writing is creative, but the whole thing is creative, in the way that you set the tables out to like the conversations that you have people. Like it's all those decisions that are creating a feeling and a moment. And I wonder if it's as well as, probably one of the reasons it does feel so good is it really makes you feel alive. Like, there are things like that where, you can feel quite passive in things, particularly I think, maybe that's why we all enjoy Substack so much because like social media is often very passive, TV is very passive. Life can almost feel quite passive at times, like you're just like receiving all this information all the time. But it feels like a very live, real, beautiful, special experience. And it's something that isn't about who you are or what you do or where you come from. It's not one of those kind of, it doesn't have those barriers, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, yeah, even things like, from a hosting perspective, when you're even laying out tables and chairs, right? It's not just, okay, someone stick a load of tables and chairs in a room and just make sure there's equal amounts of chairs on every table or whatever. Is right. How are we going to place the tables? Which direction are they going to face? Are they going to be on a slant? Are they going to be straight? Are they going to be in a circle? How many chairs are we going to have for each table, and where are we going to place them? And it's not just, a table around all four sides of the table. Is being strategic about the placement of them because of the conversations that that's going to be able to facilitate versus if they're placed in another way. And it's thinking through all those things. It's, even last time thinking about how we set up the tables for, the sort of snacks area against the
Yeah.
against stand, and thinking how is that flow going to work, and if someone's chatting over there, how are they going to can they get over there? And it's you you're quite literally creating a physical experience that then will create a physical feeling in the guests on the night, and the people that are there to enjoy it.
And also the venue is a very beautiful, special venue. And I think it is somewhere that people come into and they can tell it's somewhere that wants to give a warm welcome. I think people can feel quite, because churches don't always feel like that, do that. Whereas I think St Andrews does have that kind of quality of feeling. It was designed, I mean, it was designed actually, they did a huge redesign of it 15, 16 years ago, where they completely changed the shape of it and the experience of it. And I think it was to feel like somewhere that's like for everybody, So, I've seen people do yoga classes in there. I've seen Bridgerton rehearsing. I saw like Pollen rehearsing their dances in there when I was like upstairs doing like baby yoga with one of my children. They have like, but then they let homeless people sleep there. They do just do all these things. Everybody's really welcome. Like they have a sort of education group, and a lot of the children are Muslim, and their mums are often given a space to go and pray, like during that time when they're waiting for their children. So it really is somewhere that I think at its heart, it's in the bricks and mortar that it wants people to feel welcome. And I think you do pick up on that. I think spaces have an energy as well. And I think, when I'm trying to choose a space for an event, that feeling that you want to create is quite key. And also the acoustics are very lovely as well, I think, in church. And I think it'll be so beautiful, like on Saturday with like all the candles. And that I've been trying to like get all the holly and the ivy together. And it's going to be a really beautiful celebration. And we're meant to gather at this time, aren't we? We're meant to have that lightness in the dark, to come together, tell stories. It's a very ancient thing that we're tapping into, I think.
I completely agree, and I've always been a bit of a proponent for. I mean, maybe not. I'm saying change the word Christmas. Obviously, it's got its own celebration, its own connotation. But having this idea of more of a winter festival or a midwinter, yeah, gathering of sorts in whatever capacity you want to see that as, and really um, that is what Christmas means to me. Like when I talk about Christmas, when I talk about why I love Christmas so much, and the feeling, I think Christmas is a feeling. I sort of feel the magic still, even though I'm not a child, because it's about coming together with people. It's about the the coziness that you can create, the food that you can enjoy, the celebratory conversations, the thinking about what has been and what's yet to come, and dreaming and believing and having faith in something, whether you want to take that in a religious context or another context. It's a really special time of year, and especially I think in the evenings. I mean, the evenings now it starts about 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
But kind of coming together, yeah, quite literally in that darkness, and to come together for something like this that is so joyful and promotes a sense of togetherness, and very much the essence of community spirit, in the sense that it is a crowd-funded and council supported event, is, yeah, all part of this ethos. And it was lovely in the summer. It was lovely to have a summertime event like that, but I think it'll be even more special. Um,
I was thinking that when we do the chat, like I think we'll have a similar layout, but I feel like we need to like even hug in, like even more. Do you know what I mean? But we'll have a play with the table. But it's also doing it because you want people to be able to have conversations, but you also want everyone to be able to see clearly as well, don't you? So, and yeah, there's a lot of playing that goes around with kind of doing it. I think we are going to have many, many messages tomorrow. I need to sort out a guest list as well. But for people who have pledged, thank you so much. And everyone who's coming on Saturday, we're super excited to see you. But you can still get tickets if you want to join us. You will be so, so, so welcome. There's links all over my Substack, Lauren's Substack, everyone who's anything to do with it will be all over their Substacks. Um, but there's a £10 off discount code you can use as well. It's just really lovely to see you. And I'm just so looking forward to celebrating with my people, because it's awful. Like the more I do this, I've got so many school things, and that used to feel so me. When my eldest daughter was smaller, I felt like I was so in that zone. And I don't know, I've obviously changed a little bit during that time frame where I feel like, oh no, this is more my zone and this is more my people. So it is funny, those kind of shifts, aren't they?
yeah, yeah, but how lovely, and I think it's just kind of it's I guess it's different phases of our lives and your
Yeah.
life, how things evolve and what feels right at any one time. But I think what you've started, not just with Write Up, but with the wider sort of ecosystem of events that you do and the people that you are gathering, it does feel really special. And I do think it's going to be something that is building and building and growing for a long time. And that's not to say that that's with the aim of having, 12 write-ups a year, but people that you will touch, the people that we will all be able to meet, the connections we will all be able to make as a result of the ripples that come from an event like this or something similar, feels really, really special in a way that, maybe the school fate doesn't quite meet
Maybe
that.
not. So I'm so looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. It's going to be so lovely. Are you excited for Are you going to start with a mulled wine and a mince pie?
I
And then
think not to. I think, I've got to get
I
into
think I think everyone should start with a mulled wine before they move into other things. That would be my direction. Obviously, they can do what they want. Um, But yeah, I am so excited to see people. And I've also enjoyed it this time that because we've been through it once before, I probably should have done more work, but I felt I had to do a little bit less work explaining what it was quite so heavily as I had to like last time, even though it's still there. Like obviously I could always be doing more. But it's been nice to have that time with you and with Emma and with Tom, like shaping it. And really nice actually that I've spent more time with the writers in preparing it this time, I mean individually. And that's been really lovely as well. Um like I'm so looking forward to seeing them. Like I'm really glad that you're speaking and Emma's speaking and Tom's speaking, because I had to do a lot of speaking in July, and I think this time I will be speaking a lot less, which is probably a good thing.
I don't know about that, but no, I think the writers as well are also appreciating the time that you're able to spend with them. I think that's really come out through the conversations that you've been having in your lives, this week. That means a lot to them and makes it feel like a really supportive experience and a really supported event, especially for those that may be doing something like this for the very first time and don't sort of have that public facing persona in the same way. So
They are so looking forward to meeting each other. I know that from all the chats I've had with them, and from talking to like last the summer's writers as well. They said that was really special for them to feel like they were that group that came together, and so I think that'll be really nice. So yeah, I will see you on Saturday. Thank you very much. I'll go sort out my children, and then I've you know that I've now got to go to a work Christmas party.
of course, of course. But yeah, no, I'll be excited to see you. And a quick shout out for anyone that may want to join us in sort of helping to, set up any bits on Saturday. We've got space for a couple more volunteers. So if you're coming along anyway and you can come a little bit early, or you kind of want to help out and have a quick sneak behind the scenes about how it all sort of comes together, do drop me a message or send me an email. We'd love to kind of have you help out. So yeah.
Absolutely, because we're missing Ingrid this time and Angharad, and they did so much last time. But we do have other people helping out, and we don't want to put it too much on anybody. I think people can just help in the bits that they want to. The whole idea is that everyone gets to kind of enjoy it, but we do need a bit of help just with kind of it's the catering side, isn't it? It's just what it takes to serve people drinks and snacks and then tidy up from that. That's all it kind of is. It's not a huge thing, is it? Um, but yeah, I will see you on Saturday. You're wonderful. Love you. Bye.
Bye.